Okay, everybody, welcome to day two of the Style and Swagger Challenge. I believe everything is streaming properly over to Facebook. So thank you guys for being here today. I'm really excited. I'm really excited for what we have to share with you, especially Julie Johnson, who's here and on the line. And I just had a couple of things that I wanted to share before I handed the microphone over to her of just as you're going through work with us, I want to just restate our typical ground rules that we ask for folks so that they can get the most value out of the work they do with us. And that's what we ask you when you're doing this work, even if it's just yourself in the room, which does make these things a little easier. To just to be focused, that we're here to do this. Let's leave email and telephones and other things. Just put it to the side for a few minutes. This is a pretty short session. And so, really, that's the easiest way to do it, and including with that being present, just being here, being devoted, and we're here to do this work together. And to get the most out of that work, we ask you to be humble and to be honest. By being humble and really able to look at what you've got and how it can be better, and also what you've got that's great. Both of those things, we need to cultivate what you're awesome at, and then some of the holes that might be coming up that we're talking about as we go through the style guide session. That will be, then you can improve your brand image with the extra details that you're bringing in. And so, just part of why we do this is so that we can make it so that your team, it's a help me help you sort of a thing. We want your team to be able to give you the best results possible with the minimum amount of time and iteration possible. And so, by having some of these basic parts of the framework set, it actually gives the designer a lot more creative freedom, which is really nice. And that includes yourself if you're over on Canva and stuff like that. And just the theme of today is about knowing your why and understanding your goals. And just and a reminder of if we're going through and just something that you come up with doesn't fit into a box, just there are some other boxes further down, or like just put it in there and move it somewhere else, so that you can capture that idea. But we also want to make sure to fill out each section with the intention of what that field was there for. Um, and today we're going to be talking about how to clarify your purpose, your values, your mission, and your vision. And to understand how we're communicating, we have Julie Johnson of XY Communication. Julie is a good friend, and she has some great different insights. And just to let you know a little bit about Julie, she founded XY Communication a few years ago, and she has tremendous experience in the financial planning profession. She was SVP at UBS and the only female partner to co-manage a large team, as well as approximately $1.5 billion in AUM. She's now a public speaker, a published author, coach, and consultant through XY Communication. She's done a great deal of work with Barron's, the major wirehouses, and several RIAs focusing on business, sales, and relationship development with clients and product teams. Her focus is on learning and teaching the critical characteristics, drivers, and desires of different generations and genders, knowing how these provide statistically significant clues to help us springboard building trust and critical relationships with our existing clients, their families, prospects, as well as current and future team members. And with that, Julie, please share a little bit with the audience. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Jacob, thank you so much for having me today. What I really wanted to focus on in the time that we have is why having an exceptional web page and website is more important today than it ever has been. It has been statistically proven time and time again that even more today, people under the age of 55, the way that they find a wealth advisor often is by asking friends, going to Facebook, going to LinkedIn, going to Twitter, and saying, who do you use as your wealth advisor? And what do people send them? They send them the website link of the wealth advisor that they are using. So obviously, when you receive that, you click on it and you go to that website. That is the majority of how wealth advisors are found. Another thing that is very, very important is it has been statistically proven in the last year and a half during COVID, there has been a 71% increase in website traffic. That's overall. I mean, think about it. It makes sense. People are stuck at home, maybe not quite so much anymore, but we have been stuck at home. So we've been searching the web for everything that we need. The other thing that is really, really important as far as having an exceptional website is that the younger generation, so you as a wealth advisor obviously want to be building very strong relationships with the younger family members of existing clients, right? So as we've heard for years and years, there's approximately, depending upon who you ask, what site you go to, $68 trillion, trillion with a T, of money that is going to be trickling down from grandparents and parents to their kids, kids being in their 20s, 30s, what have you. But that wealth transfer is occurring in abundance and will continue to occur for decades. And if you are not facilitating the needs and the desires of those generations, then they will find somebody who does. It is, again, statistically proven that approximately 80% of younger generations leave the existing advisors of their grandparents or parents. 80%. So if you want to maintain that familial relationship and you want to maintain those assets, it is, needless to say, critical for you to have an exceptional website. Majority for people, again, under the age of 55 and women, they do the majority of their wealth research, their investment research, their own self-study online. You want to be there to be the person providing those solutions. What are they looking for? You want to be there to help them sleep better at night. You need to make sure that you are providing a very succinct value proposition. Don't be afraid to get very nichey. Don't be afraid to be very specific in the audience that you wish to attract. Actually, oftentimes the more specific, the better, because then you're not blending in with the masses. Once you have determined what your niche is, then you want to think through, okay, what is the age? What is the demographic? What is the background? And then when you know these answers, you can determine, based upon age, based upon background, what kind of vernacular do you want to place on your website? What kind of pictures? What kind of images? Remember, you want to make people feel. The most important things that you communicate visually, verbally, on your website is what makes you different and how do you make those people that you are trying to attract, how do you make them feel? Things that you want to make sure you have on your website are what makes you different. How do you set yourself apart from the competition, right? You want to be communicating what makes you trustworthy. Why are you a better person to provide them these solutions than your competition? Make sure that you are able to articulate very clearly your value add. What is your experience that enables you and empowers you to be a better solutions provider than somebody else? Making sure that um, it's really critical that when you have your value proposition and you are looking to attract your perfect audience, that you are able to do so both personally and digitally. So again, make sure that your website is very specific. You don't want it to have a ton of information on it. More is not better in this situation. You want it to really have a voice that attracts and draws exactly the audience that you are looking for. And why are you the right person to provide these solutions? What makes you different? What makes you better? Oftentimes, you want a call to action, if not one, maybe even two on the website. Potentially, the first call to action is a free consultation with you. Potentially, the second call to action is if they provide you with their with their email and or phone number, then you provide them with a paper or an article or a study that fulfills and provides solutions to what they're looking for. Say, as an example, Generation X, so people in their 50s and young 60s, are your niche, the audience that you're looking to attract. Remember, what they want to hear from you is, okay, they're a sandwich generation. They have kids probably going to college. So you want to think debt, you want to think college, you want to think financial planning for that specific need. They often also have parents that are relying on them either for health care, or they have parents who are in a senior living home. What is it that you can provide them that's going to help them fulfill and have solutions for those needs? Maybe it's tax planning, maybe it's again, college applications, whatever it might be. You want to be very, very specific in those communication strategies. And don't be afraid to get personal. It is business, and you do want it to be, it's this fine line about you and them, right? Your prospect is who matters. Making sure that they understand how you help them. So the key to selling is always get them curious and then share with them what's in it for them. How are you going to help them? And what makes your ability to do so unique? They also want to make sure, have testimonials on your website, have references. There's new SEC regulations that make this more open than it was in the past. Check with your compliance people. I'm not an attorney, but you have the ability now to have testimonials, references, and whatnot, because keep in mind that when people are looking for an advisor, they are going to look for testimonials, references, and they trust those almost as much as they trust their friends saying, yeah, this person is wonderful. This person took great care of me and continues to take great care of me. Okay, so you want testimonials for sure. What are the words that you are looking for that you want to make sure to have on your website, no matter who your niche is? And what is the feeling, the experience that you want to be providing for them? You want to make sure that they get a sense that you are trustworthy, that they can trust you implicitly. You want to make sure that they get a sense that you are going to give them an exceptional experience. You are going to make them feel heard. You are going to make them feel respected. You are going to make sure that they feel that there's collaboration between them and yourself. Collaboration and respect are equally important, and sometimes more important in the relationship with the wealth advisor than alpha, than a little bit better performance than the market. Again, trust is imperative. Transparency is critical. Being very clear if you are a fiduciary, that's critical. So again, it comes down to, how do you make them feel? Can they trust you? What do you provide for them that is unique and is meaningful for them? And will you be a collaborative source, an empowering source? Are you going to give them exceptional information? Are you going to be there for them when they need you? And are you going to also provide them with the solutions, the digital solutions that they need when that's the route that they want to go? Remember, it's both personal as well as digital. Please know, if you, when you do define who your niche is, and you know the age, the demographic, the background, if you want help in particular vernacular or semantics to help make sure that you're drawing this particular audience, Jacob and Tasha can put you in touch with me. I would love to help you with any of that conversation and feedback. And I appreciate so much your time today. Thank you so much.
Julie, thank you so much for everything that you shared. I really appreciate, this just the continuing to double down on, the fact on how we can niche down, that there is a great market as you niche down somewhere in there. You need to understand profitability, how you're going to make your margins, and, how much of the market is there for you that you can possibly get. But there also is probably no bottom end on how far you can go with that niche. I mean, there's the famous story from Michael Kitces about one of his clients who's a bass fisherman and has like it's like 9 figures of investable assets or something like that. It was like hundreds of millions of dollars in just bass fish. And people who are in the client or the advisor is a part of that community, which is a part of what makes it so that it's a logical thing for him to become a part of and go for that niche. And that's something I think that you should look for too. It's who, who is it that you hang out with that is going to, be has a rich well of community of potential clients, and that as you can speak to, that person because you know their language, that's a part of what's really helpful. And just also like the about me page or the about us page on your website, and actually, we don't want to have it be terribly about you specifically. What we do with our clients is we actually make sure that we talk about it's actually about how you can help them as a prospect, and having that be the specific way that you language it. Maybe you can share a little bit of your background in your resume, but speaking to the problems that you solve is much more powerful. It's one of those, like, even when you're looking at someone to be an employee and you get a resume, you can see what someone did in the past, but that doesn't actually relate to how they're going to help you. And so, making sure to communicate that point of like, I can help you this way, or that way, that is a part of what we want with the clear communication. And then a part of what I love so much about Julie's work is that she's also really focusing on, you know, what type of language are you using? What's the vernacular and how does it work? I mean, if you're a financial planning firm that's, trying to help out guys who work on like the PGE power lines, which we have a client that does that, that they want to have more of a, it's a high class but still approachable by blue collar kind of languaging and imagery on their websites. Other clients, like, I have a client in Nashville who really likes working with professional musicians and special needs and horse trainers and stuff like that are in that part of the country. And so having it so that we have those images, that way of speaking on the screen. And these are also folks. Her ideal client is not the most. Um, they don't love this money stuff. That they've made their success another way, and they need someone who they can trust that's in their corner. Who is it that is going to be a guide? And I think that's a big part of what all of this branding and style stuff is really leading towards. At the end of the day, is how are you, their brand and their guide. And with that, folks, we have been going for the promised half hour. We have a great third day coming forward tomorrow where we're going to go back to the worksheet here, and we're going to be focusing on your mission, vision, and purpose. And I want to thank you for being here today, for being a part of this. And if you're watching the replay, sign up and come to the challenge live if you'd like. We'd love to have you. So, with that, folks, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.